joining us tonight. I welcome you all on behalf of Hadi School of Excellence. My name is Ummul Banin Kazmi, and I will be your host tonight. I'm a longtime parent um, at Hadi and part of their outreach and communication team. So, as we begin with the name of Allah, I would like to invite Iman Mirza, our kindergartner at Hadi School, to come and recite Surah Qadr for us. Iman.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That was wonderful recitation, Iman. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have joined us in the fifth event in a series of monthly webinars that Hadi School of Excellence has been hosting in an effort to provide services to the community outside of just basic student academics. So although our focus has been on mental health so far, given the pandemic and given our current circumstances, however, given that this is the month of Ramadan, we felt that our topic should be more in tune with the spirit of the month. So as you know, that today's discussion will be about instilling spirituality in our children, a psychological and age-based approach. So as far as the topic goes, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever wondered about the how, when, and the best practices of instilling the love of Islam and all things Islamic in your kids, this session's for you. As parents, we sort of we're constantly struggling to find that happy balance between encouraging our children towards Islamic practices. Push them too little and you lose them, push them too hard and you lose them. So inshallah, through the discussion today, you will gain insights on how to address this. So before I introduce our guest, I would like to remind you that we want you to get the most out of this session. So ideally, we'd like it to be as interactive as possible. So please feel free to post your questions in our chat as we progress with the program. So gracing us with his presence tonight is Hujjatul Islam, Seyed Hadi Yassin. Seyed Hadi Yassin is actually a doctoral candidate in clinical psychology. He has a bachelor's in Quranic sciences and tradition, and another bachelor's in fundamentals of Islamic jurisprudence from Mashhad Seminary in Iran. And he has a master's degree in psychology with the emphasis in child development. He's also a certified professional coach, CPC. He's the founder of Hadi Life Coaching, specializing in children, parenting, and relationships. He has conducted a vast amount of research on relationships and marriage. Recently, though, his focus has been on working with children and families with special needs. So to this end, Syed Yassin has served as the behavioral instructor and associate clinical supervisor at California Psych Care, assisting families with autistic children. He is also the resident alim at ICZ in Pleasanton, California. Mashallah, that's a long list of accomplishments and something I would absolutely love my son to emulate, inshallah. So without further ado, I would like Syed Yassin to, start with the talk.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much, sister. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة لأعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone. May Allah inshallah bless you. Ramazan Mubarak to all of you guys. I hope and pray inshallah Allah would give us the best and the blessings in this month, and let us take advantage of every single moment of this inshallah holy month and make it a inshallah dakhira and reward for this world and hereafter inshallah. It is always great pleasure to be able to talk to parents regarding a very important topic of parenting. Before I dive into the topic and I would share some of the slides that I have with you, a very quick introduction about parenting and the importance of that, and specifically this topic of instilling the love of Islam and religion and faith in our children. Parenting is a full-time job. Parenting is not a side job. Parenting is not just for one parent specifically, the other one take a rest. Parenting is constantly for both men and women, father and mother, or if it's in the case of a single parent, full-time job in order to spend overall on children and, helping them to, grow with the best inshallah skills and abilities. Parenting is a science. Parenting is a knowledge that you have to learn. It's not something that you just got an information chest to chest from your parents and grandparents and back to back, and that's what you want to do. No, this is a knowledge that we have to learn what are the best approaches to our children and what are the best way to nurture them. One of the most important and actually most favorite sessions I have and clients I have about those parents that there's not a specific problem in them, but they want to come forward and learn how to do and make sure that what they do is correct. This become more sensitive when it comes to ideology, beliefs, aqa'id. When you want to teach your kids and you want to put the seed and the love of aqidah and beliefs in them, it's double, maybe triple, maybe more sensitive and important for all of us to pay attention, because a mistake can be detrimental. All those kids that we have seen, for example, grow up, teenagers, they might have issue. Why? Because many of them during the childhood, they were not introduced to the faith in a way that they were supposed to be introduced. Therefore, it is very important for all of us to pay attention. What are the best ways in order to be successful in this path? Another quick point here I would mention is that there's no successful parenting without a successful marriage. In the house, the environment is very important. You need to create an environment. Mashallah, you have a school, right? One of the most important things you pay attention is educational, safe, progressive environment at your school. If the environment is the tension at the school, no matter what kind of teachers you bring and how beautiful everything is, the environment doesn't let the kids to learn or to have the love of education. Therefore, the same as house, the environment is the house is very important for kids in order to learn. As mom and dad are very important here, their relationship, their interactions with each other, right? It's very, very important here. So that's why we need to keep that in mind, that there are some prerequisites, there are some conditions. It's not just, I just say something, do something, why it's not working, why my kids are acting this way. So therefore, it is super important for all of us to look at those prerequisites and conditions as well. But that's a different topic, inshallah. Maybe later I will go to that. I would like to share the screens and go ahead, and if you allow me, please, I would like to share some of the screens and share my slides.
You're able to do that now. Try it out.
All right, so what are we going to do, inshallah, because some people would ask about the information, just a couple of seconds here. What important here is that, and I want to pay attention, is that the first things in order to, teach them or help them to learn about the faith, about religion, the most important thing we have to pay attention is that our knowledge, our understanding about that, not to do it traditionally. You heard traditions, manhul, that they said you need to raise your children based on the time that they've been, born and they've been raised. You can't just bring whatever was in the past for the future. Therefore, it is important to increase the knowledge. You know yourself before you move forward, teach something to your kids. All right. I would like to start with this beautiful tradition narrated from Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, God bless servant, rahimallah abdan a'ana. God bless the servant who helped his child on what? On his righteousness. When Rasulullah is praying for someone, it is very interesting, right? He's not just getting emotional, say something. You know, bless the one who would, that, you know, help his child on his righteousness by being kind to him. So here's are the tools that you need. How can you help them to be righteous? Rasulullah is introducing in this tradition, Maqbool, is introducing the what? The tools. Being kind to them. The kindness are important. Having a nice relationship with them, but ta'alluf. Having a nice relationship with child is important. And by what? Ta'aleemihi wa ta'adibihi. Education and discipline. I literally want you to pay attention to these beautiful points in this tradition. Number one, and even the order. Number one, you have to pay attention to what? You need to help them to be righteous. And I want to tell you, after years and years of having clients from all around the world, different cultures, different personalities, different people, nationalities, all around the world, the parenting part, if you, and I'm saying it as a psychologist, not as a scholar, if you want to have a peaceful life, if you want to have a beautiful, amazing family with children who respect you, train them with certain ideology and beliefs, with aqidah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which the best aqidah is Islam. I'm saying, you know, from the secular perspective, they'll become so well trained, obedient towards the truth. So that's very important. By what? Having a nice relationship with them and, you know, education and discipline. Some people think the most difficult part of the parenting is at the beginning, you know, and when the child is, you know, crying, and we've all been through it, you know, we can't sleep at night, specifically mothers, they have difficulties, you know, to go through it, and until the child is growing up. But indeed, the most difficult part, for those who are in this stage, they know, who those who are not, you will realize the most difficult part, when they actually grow up, when they are at the age of, you know, being teenagers, then you will see the difficulties, the challenges. Then you see that that part was the easiest part, the first part. And I want you to know your children are not immune from the problems and distractions of this world. No matter if they memorize the whole Quran, no matter if they can give lectures and speeches, no matter if the most active kid in the masjid, they're not immune from anything. They need your supervision 24 hours. And I really mean that. I want you to pay attention to that. You need to be parents, right? Until they pass that age. So how can we do it? What is the best way to move forward then? The best way in order to have a better, you know, teenage time is to, again, raise faithful, righteous children who know the discipline. We're going to go to the details. Pay attention, because in this presentation, inshallah, we'll focus on both aspects, psychological, cognitive, developmental aspects, and we're going to focus on Islamic perspective as well to combine this together. Where should we start from? We need to start from the beginning. Because we have probably diverse, you know, audience right now with different, you know, ages of the children. So I need to talk a little bit about all these ages. So make sure, inshallah, we cover. But the best way is that you make sure you start from the beginning. This is the best way. And traditions are telling us it's us that would bring the love of something into the heart of our children. They are ready to learn. They're just you know, open to learn. It's us, how we and what direction we are moving them and teaching them and raising them in. One of the most important ways or aspects that I have seen parents they neglect is the psychology of their children. The way that they treat their 10-year-old is the same as the 5-year-old. Is the same expectation as 15-year-old. Well, if my 15-year-old is respectful like this and understand, well, the 7-year-old should understand as well. Not paying attention that they are different. They're different in thinking. And different than adults, different than us. One of the major issues I've seen with parents is that they expect and they communicate with their children as who they are as adults. They don't understand they're talking to different ages with different capacities and understanding. So cognitive development here will come and help us to understand how children think, how they think about the world, about people, about things around them, how their thinking changes with age due to the brain maturation. I'm talking about the physical aspects of their brain. We need this for teaching them Islam. I don't know how many of you guys you paid attention. You want to introduce God to your children, but what age? What is the capacity? I mean, do I understand that God that you're explaining to me? I don't understand that God. You need to sit down and lecture. Maulana is talking. Maulana is talking about what? I can't relate. Sometimes you might have experienced, a scholar comes or speakers and you don't even understand what they're saying because the level is very high, right? So, and the tradition says, talk to people based on their capacity of their mind. So you need to understand and to pay attention to your kids, level of development and understanding. Why is it so important for parents to understand how their children think in different ages? Because children's behavior, at different ages are different. How children think about the world, about people, about themselves, about religion is different. Why very young children have difficulties getting along with others in certain point and sometimes. How to best communicate with children at different ages, and what are the realistic expectations from children at different ages. We expect them, right? So my daughter is, for example, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old. So I'm expecting certain things from her. So in order to expect that, I have to understand how much I can expect, how much I can ask, to what level, based on what I introduce to them. Let's go with preschoolers very quickly. The preschoolers' thinking ability continue to be very concrete. It is easiest for them to think about objects that are in front of them. I need this. Pay attention to this. We said we have to introduce Islam and religion from very early ages. The training should start from there, right? Paying attention that they see what they believe what they see, as well as rigid, inflexible, illogical. In addition, their understanding of the world, including people, nature, and things, very limited. The preschoolers also has great difficulties taking the perspective of another person. Each of these are important when we want to introduce something. Remember, if you do this, something is going to happen. Abstractly, I'm talking, you need to calculate in your mind. My preschooler does not understand. I'm expecting something that he or she cannot do, literally cannot do, right? If it's in front of them, they understand, they believe, they see. Why the Islamic trainings or traditions come here and you have different training about different ages as well? Why? They are paying attention. Our tradition is about these differences as well. Understanding of how the world works for them, for preschool, is very poor. They don't understand what's real and what isn't. They believe what they can see. I'm going to give some examples of what does it mean in our tradition. I mean, when it comes to teaching Islam. Think that if something moves, it's alive. It can be a fire, it can be a rock, is this, rolling down a hill. It's alive, it's doing something. Then when the kids might tell you something about, oh my God, look at this, mom, look at that, dad is talking. I was like, if I'm busy, all right, why are you talking about this? Oh my God, who taught you? Not understanding that this is the whole world for him. He's telling you the whole world that he or she is at that time. They may fear that, for example, his body can come apart. For example, when blood oozes from a cut, he might think that, all of things from inside is coming out. The reaction might be so dramatic. You're like, why are you acting this way? Why you're doing this? Why? What do you mean by why? You need to go to the world to understand their world, so you understand them. There's no why. It's about you understand them, right? Struggles with understanding what causes things to happen. It's beautiful. It's very important. If I had time, each of this could be, 15, 20 minutes talk. I'm just going through it. So you, inshallah, think about it with other examples I want to bring up, inshallah, soon. Before moving forward here, which is the foundation, 3 factors associated with formation of our personality. That means in this case, we're talking about faithful personality, right? Religious personality. We need to pay attention: the genes, the environment, and training. And I'm going to talk about these 3, considering this developmental stages that we talk about, and we will talk about. Genes are number 1. That's what traditions are mentioning. Once you want to get married, be careful with who you're married. You're getting married, because the genes are important. We have a number of traditions about this. You can't change that. You might be able to change the training or the environment, but the genes, once it's there, is there, right? So it's very important. If you pay attention, why Ahlul Bayt, why prophets are all from great genes, right? Back to back. Our scholars, ulama, the same thing. Second, environment that you create in the house and around and at school and other things, very important. I've seen people and children from beautiful families. The environment was corrupted, was not good, and they're gone, right? And also the training as well. The root, the environment, and the training is very important for them. Let's focus on the genes. We talk about it, it's just what it is. We have to be careful. We have to pay attention. If if you have children that are getting married, be careful. What are the families, their generation, and everything? So let's go to environment and training, because we can measure them. We can talk more about them. This is related to us. One of the most important factors is the environment that you need to provide for your children. Your teaching strategies should be concrete for preschoolers, right? Remember, said they're concrete, that's thinking. Your teaching should be what? Should be concrete for them. What does it mean? They believe what they see around them. You need to be, tangible. You bring tangible examples in front of them. For example, make the house environment as close to a mosque as possible. For example, I'm just giving some examples. Build a masjid at your home. A beautiful, fun, nice place, the best part of your house, not next to the door that everybody's exiting, not that little tiny area that, this is the least important one. That's why we made it masjid. No, the most important part of the house will be the masjid. Delegate a room as the home masjid. Make this masjid entirely responsibility for your kids. Get the eldest, for example, to be in charge of the, some responsibilities for other younger siblings as well. For example, cleaning it, calling for azan, everything, and then put some reinforcement on it. That would help them. Expectations should be based on the age, by the way. That would help them to what? That will help them to build a sense of responsibility. Reinforcement and reward, gift, and praising them would help them to be encouraged to do it more. And at that age of being preschoolers, they love to imitate their parents. Have you seen they come next to you and they want to pray? So this would provide a great opportunity in Ramadan, for example. This is a great, great moment in time. If you create the environment in the house, do not go too far religious. Do not go too much of religiosity that it's too much for them, right? The same way that we say, for example, too much screen time is bad for them. Too much of something is not good. خَيْرُ الْأُمُورِ أَوْسَطُهَا. Make sure you combine it with other things as well. If you go to the masjid, you pray with in the house, you pray with each other, and then you have some fun as well. Play with kids over there as well. So they think they can have fun in that environment as well. Pray in front of your kids, even if they're a newborn. I remember my professors were saying that when you are, changing the diaper of your newborn, make sure you talk to them. Tell them, sweetheart, this is the dry diaper. Oh, this is the wet diaper. So I'm changing your dry. They can't talk, but they understand. You want more better example? When the baby is in the womb of a mother, they hear, they understand, they perceive based on their level. That's why, you heard a lot of experiments, for example, they play a sound, a music, a story for a baby in the womb. And then when the baby was born, nothing could calm down. The voice of that music or that story or the mother could calm them down because they built a rapport and relationship with them. Let them see Quran that you recited in front of them. For this age, remember, it says they see what they do, something that is important for them. Recite Quran at the best time. Be careful, not at the time that your kid says, Mom, can you come and play with me? Dad, can you come and play? No, I have to recite Quran. Come on. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu. This is the time for Quran. It's like, I'm sorry. He might say, I hate this Quran because it's against my fun. Be very careful. One of the greatest famous scholars in Iran once said that he got a letter from a teenager that said, I hate you. Everybody loves him, all teenagers. I hate you. You know why? Because anytime I want to watch TV, my father comes and changes the channel to your speech. So you're against my fun. That's why I don't like you. So we don't want namaz, Quran, and stuff like that become the blockers for their fun, right? And even if this is the time, by a nice way of communicating and talking to them, we explain to them, sweetheart, all right, how about we pray together? And then soon we're going to go pray with each other. How about this? And I'm going to give you this and that, right? Put some Islamic signs around the house, visual, auditory. Remember, concrete understanding. They see things. Why don't Ramadan is beautiful time for this, right? Decorate the house for Ramadan. Put some beautiful, nice, signs of Islamic signs around. Why masjid is so important? The actual masjid when you go outside. Inshallah, after pandemic, we'll be able all to go back. Why is so important? Because of the environment. I always say, parents, even if you can go to masjid Thursday night for 10 minutes, go. Let the kids see the environment, come back home. If it's really, really, you don't have time. Let them be involved with that environment, right? How come they say, for example, in Islam, certain environments, certain places, parties, is haram to go? Even if you don't touch anything, you don't do anything. One of the reasons the environment would affect you, right? Even adults. So make sure your environment, even auditory, visual, be, according to this teachings that you have. Rules at home should be Islamic rules. Measure the goodness or evil of everything by the vision of Islam. From that age, make sure you bring that in a fun way, not too much. We're going to talk about this. Not as soon as he touched something, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu haram, and Jahannam is coming towards you. I'm going to talk about it. This is not this way. Nice way of explaining, we'll teach them, and we need to put the seed, the love of Islam in their heart. If you cannot put the love of Islam in their heart and you want to punish them, you need to follow Islam. Otherwise, punished. Later on, they might reject it, believe me. And then, of course, at the end, you need to practice what you're preaching. It's very important. Go to training. These are important for other ages as well. Create a very nice and kind image of Allah for your kids. Number one, try not to scare them by Allah's punishment. I want you to pay attention to this. Look at me. Some parents say, if you act this way, Allah is going to punish you. You're going to go to Jahannam, to the hellfire, and then you're going to be burned. Or this is going to happen to you. Allah is going to do this to you. And the kids would think with himself or herself, like, if I be the worst kid in the school, no one is going to burn me. No one is going to hurt me. No one's going to punish me. If I do whatever I do at home, you, mom, you're not going to do this to me. What kind of creature is that God that you're talking about? That he is super kind, by the way, you're saying, and super amazing. At the same time, he's going to put me into the Jahannam, into the fire. This confusion would kill the kid, They might not be able to express it, but so be careful. Do not make them scared of God. No, you can do opposite, actually. Bring the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't threaten them by something, that this is just really, even for adults, sometimes you say it. So you can literally teach them in different times by Allah is very kind to children. Say something that they can relate to, Sweetheart, stories about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about Rahim. You can ask him let me tell you what, for kids, they love heroes and heroes. They love role models. They love samples. If you read some stories for them, there is a character that character is so important and so kind, they will love that character. Make that character Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Anbiya. You can ask him whatever you want. He's the most generous one. Everything he gives, act upon it. He Ask something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I want that toy. Make sure you buy it whenever is the time, not too late. Put it there. Say, oh my God, look, Allah sent it to you. At this age, they just see, they believe what they see, right? You need to put the foundation. That's it. Don't worry about this. How about later on? They want everything. Don't worry about this for this age, you know? He knows everything. The kids love those that they know everything. He's the best protector, Hafiz, right? He forgives children when they apologize, tawab. So they's like, oh, this is a great creature. Whoever he is, or God or Allah, or whatever his name, the name is that this one is lovely because knows everything. When they talk to each other, if you listen to them, it's like, oh, my mom said that. My teacher said that. It's like, oh my God, how important, right? They think these people, these figures, they know everything. So create a very nice and kind image of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ahlul Bayt for your kids. This can be for other ages as well. For example, they were very kind to kids. Tell them stories of life of Ahlul Bayt with kids. Let me put here this. I'm going to introduce some important skills that you can use in order to teach your kids whatever you want to do. Number one, stories. Do not miss this time. And you don't have to be always just looking for, can you introduce me some books, some storybooks? You can be the story yourself with all those stories that you know yourself. How? If you have a book properly made and written for that, perfect. By making characters. When it comes to Rasulullah, to Ahlul Bayt, make them bold their personality, make them important characters and how nice they were to people, to kids specifically, to animals, things that kids would relate to them, right? Look what I'm doing here. Have you paid attention? I'm not going directly to you to tell you, teach praying, how to pray to your kids. I'm going with the foundation. Once you bring this love into the kids' heart, then they built upon this foundation. Then you don't need to kick your son when he's older to wake up for salat at the Fajr time. Because he already internally, I'm not saying that he's going to be ma'asum or something like that, oh my God, Allah, but at least he's not against it the way that you have trouble. The more he learns, the more she learns, the more they built on that foundation. Well, once the foundation is strong, you can build multiple stories. Once the foundation is not strong and weak, it will collapse if you go too high, right? So therefore, the stories, remember, are very important here. Second, for example, you want to talk about the stories of Imam Hussein. Depends on the age. Take that savage part of Karbala, they're attacking, killing, blah, 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 depends on the age. Make them heroes. Talk about Abu al-Fadl, talk about Imam Hussein. You don't know. Hazrat Sakina, she had a beautiful, amazing uncle. He was so strong, so amazing. He was so nice to kids. He was always playing with them. You can use your own words as well, And then he went this and that for them. He did. You build the love of these characters in their heart. So later on, when he is 13-year-old, 14-year-old, they're hearing the name of Abu al-Fadl Abbas in a masjid. The speaker doesn't have to kill himself to tell them, oh, he already loved this character. When you talk about Rasulullah Muhammad, how he was with children, he was passing the street. He was a busy man, but he stopped and he played soccer with kids. They loved him because he was so kind. Then when we say tradition, later on, he's 15-year-old, or she's 15-year-old, 16-year-old, the speaker says, or you say, oh, there's a tradition from Rasulullah says we need to do this, we need to follow that. He doesn't have to say, who is Rasulullah? Do I like him or not? Already built the love of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt to them, right? So make sure you use stories. Second, role modeling. Super important. Role modeling, specifically when it comes to parents as well. I know we don't have that much time. So sister, remind me about the time. So whenever is that? How much more time I have? Sorry.
So, brother, we have until 7. Our program ends at 7, and we would like some time for the parents to ask questions. And so, however you want to.
Okay, 7.
But this is, I feel that our audience are hooked. So,
Thank you.
I mean, if you want to wrap this up, please take your time.
Sure. So 7, you mean how many more minutes?
So
We got,
that's it's 6:35 at this point. So we
all
have
right,
slightly less than half an hour.
that's good. Okay. So the second aspect is role modeling. If you want to teach them about something, use role modeling. For example, your kids, you can use it even for your teenagers. Your kids are not respectful. They're not patient, right? Patient enough. What you can do with your husband, with your wife, create a scenario. Parents should be creative, right? Don't be passive, be active. Create a scenario. And for example, your husband is coming home and he is literally, do it literally. And then he's very hungry and he's like, where's the food? I'm so hungry. And the mom says, oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. You know, literally the words, look at the words that I'm using. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry, baby. You know, oh, the food is not ready yet. Uh, and the husband says, oh, I'm so hungry, but oh, that's okay. I will be patient. That's fine. I'll wait a little bit. That's that's for that age. Many ages, even children, I mean, teenagers, better than 1-2 hours of Molana's talking about patience because they see it, role modeling, right? They love it. Anger. So something happened, dad did something, and then mom is like going to be very angry, and then mom controls this anger. I need to control myself. Do not look at your kids. You're playing at the moment. Astaghfirullah, ya Allah, help me to control my anger. He's playing over there. He's eating somewhere else. She's doing something else. You know how smart they are, right? When you're talking, they understand everything and they narrate it back to you. So they know what you're doing. Astaghfirullah, ya Allah, help me. I control myself. He or she's going to do exactly the same tomorrow. Okay? So pay attention to that as well. The love of Ahlul Bayt. If they see that Ahlul Bayt loves them, then they will love them back. They need to bring that love. Instead of just love of namaz first for this age, right? Love of those who introduce namaz. First Allah and Ahlul Bayt. Have story times, narrate stories, like I said, about Ahlul Bayt and different, about animals. One of the best things you can do about stories about prophets and Ahlul Bayt, go with the animals. Go narrate the story from the horse of Imam Hussein. They're going to be mesmerized by that, right? Open Quran and read stories from it. Very fun and nice way. It depends on how creative you are. Then I'm going to love this storybook. What is the name of this storybook? The name is Quran. I love it. It's full of beautiful stories. Yeah. Have you done that? Right? Visualize it. Kids are beautifully amazing with visualizing stories, right? Have weekly meeting with them. Yes, even with your teenagers, they feel and talk about what they feel, what you feel, and then they will see that you are dedicating time with them. You're sitting down, you're spending time with them, right? If I have any fathers here, I hope I have some fathers here listening to me. Maybe not, based on my experience, but if really have, you need to spend time at home with them. You cannot just expect your wife, come on, I'm going out and I'm bringing money. Okay, good job for you that you brought the bread, but who's supposed to teach them? She's half of it. You are the other half. Or because you put them in Al-Hadi school that I'm paying who? I'm paying them to teach Islam to my kids. No, they just have certain number of hours with them. You are the role model. You need to teach. Yes, the school is very important, but you are the most important one. And yes, what you can teach to your children, a mother, a female cannot teach. Even psychology comments says, when it comes to social teachings and social, skills, fathers are very important if they can teach them through games. Mothers are very good at emotional aspects of teachings and love and some sort of, sharing responsibilities here. I don't have to go through this. Let's go to adolescence. So far, preschoolers and schoolers, all the way I'll go to the age of adolescence. You can use what I said just to move forward. For adolescents, how many families we have with adolescents here? Do we have anyone say it, sister?
Yes, we actually do have a lot of families, myself
I have a
included.
lot of questions probably about this. So let me tell you what, during adolescence, thinking abilities become more complex and adult-like. Many adolescents become capable of thinking abstractly. Remember, concretely, abstractly, right? All right. So that means what? They can think beyond here and now, concrete reality, right? Imagine what could be, not just what it is, like the children. Easily think about the past as well as the future. Think about ethical dilemmas. Think hypothetically. They have this abilities to think this way, okay? What else we have? These changes in thinking have additional implications for teenagers, for teens' behavior. They like to argue. How many of you guys, you're familiar with that? Raise your hand. Oh, all those who have teenagers, right? There you go. They love to argue because they are better arguers. Mix that with autonomy that is being built in them. Now I'm going to prove myself to you. Plus, I did some Google and some research, right? So now I'm going to prove myself to you. So they are the best arguers. What should you do? Do you have to argue back? That's what making a lot of parents make mistakes. You need to respect me. You should not talk to me this way. And guess what? You argue back with them. You know who's going to win? The kid's going to win. You don't have enough power, enough energy, and enough, will to argue like them. So do not argue back with them, right? You bring your credit down. They are more idealistic and therefore more likely to become involved in causes and are more critical of parents because they can better imagine what could be. They see in the movie that a mother, how she is interacting with the teenager. And then she is picturing it for herself. Why my mother is not? Why my mother doesn't talk to me? Why she doesn't call me sweetheart? Why she raise her voice when she calls me? Why she doesn't knock on the door when she comes into my house, in my room? Well, my non-Muslim friends, I was in their house the other day. Her mother treated her very nicely, but why my mom is not doing it? Why my dad is not paying enough attention to me? While I've seen, and unfortunately, if there are non-Muslims, so therefore something is wrong with this Islam because my parents are Muslim. So you see, non-Muslims always go with these titles. So non-Muslim, how nice they are, what they call their parent, their children. So because why my mom and dad, they fight with each other all the time. You know why? Probably because they're Muslim. Then you bring them from this masjid to that masjid to this masjid to that. It's not going to work that much. They tend to become more self-conscious because they are less egocentric and have better perspective taking skills. So they can see things from different perspectives today when they're at this age. However, one of the things that are not developed, if I had a quiz for you, I would ask this question. What is the last ability and skills that teenagers or insan will learn in the development? They're not good at planning ahead or thinking through the consequences of their behavior. So they're more likely to engage in risky behavior. You've seen a lot in non-Muslim world is about teen pregnancy a lot, right? Why? Because they can't see the risk of their behavior, right? So this part of the brain involved in this type of thinking doesn't mature until around age 26. So when you have an 18-year-old, he or she has difficulties understanding the future or the risk of the behavior because it's not developed yet. You need to pay attention to this aspect, okay? Beautiful traditions, Manghul narrated. The heart of youth is like an empty land. It accepts whatever it planted in it. You have some creatures ready to learn. The most important thing I'll really humbly request all of you guys is to make sure you treat them respectfully, nicely, and you teach them the love of Islam. Do not just bring the hammer of halal and haram into their heart without explaining. In Surah Luqman, when Luqman is going to talk to his son, make sure you go read the Luqman from the parenting perspective. It says, "Oh my son, do not be mushrik. Do not associate anyone with Allah." Why? He's communicated, "Inna shirka la dhulmun azim." Shirk is very bad. It's like oppressing. So you don't. He's explaining. You need to explain. You need to talk. You need to communicate. Even based on the Islamic stages of teaching, when it comes to teenagers, right? The last 7 years is what? They're the wazir. They're the prime ministers. They're the prince. Here you need to involve them. You need to give them respect. You need to talk to them, communicate with them, explain to them, and understand them. Specifically your girls. They are the volcanoes of emotions. If I don't have fathers here, bring this code from me and from Islam actually, that your daughters specifically, they need your attention. They need you to see them. They need you to vocalize, to talk to them. How beautiful is my daughter? Oh my God, I have the most beautiful daughter in the world. I have the most smartest daughter in the world. Then she goes to the college, to high school. The boy comes and says, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Her heart is not gonna pump so fast because she already heard that from a male mahram. But when my father, my maharam, they don't tell me, that guy approaches me in the university and says, oh my God, look at your eyes. You're the best man in the world. You know why? Because you saw my beauty. You saw my smartness. No one else could see it. So I already love you, no matter who you are. Attention, attention, attention. Tradition says that when you come home, if you have gifts, first give it to your, the female versions of the family members, wife and daughter, and then to your boys. Beautiful, because of attention, right? So I'm talking about number of clients through all these years to see from different ages to see what happens and why that happens, all the way to adults that they left home, and you know what I'm talking about, issues with families and stuff like that. Anyhow, the teenage is the best phase of life for teaching religion. Did you know that? By the way, you need to have the foundation strongly. Okay, religious concepts gain more, aspects here that for kids, because they want to learn, and this is something that adults do as well. They love to, to relate to it. And if you can explain it to them, if you can talk to them, literally, don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated if your teenagers are questioning and criticizing religion. Let them criticize. Let them come out. Let them talk about, why is it this way? If you know the answer, remember at the beginning of the presentation, it says your knowledge is very important. If you know the answer, perfect. If you don't know the answer, bring them to someone who can psychologically and Islamically be capable of answering them nicely, right? It is the best phase of life to strengthen the value of religion and relationship with God. You just need to know how to talk to them. Educate yourself. Don't introduce religion as a set of dry rules and disciplines that if you don't follow, you will be dramatically punished by God. Instead, make religion as a necessary lifestyle, which we need in order to live in this world. Advertisements, make that objects, that tools, your need. That's why you buy it. You have set of knives in your house, in your kitchen, right? And then you're listening to an advertisement. They're advertising it. There was like, how am I even living without this knife? How am I even cooking so far without this knife in the TV? I need to have it. They make it your need, then you buy it. You need to make the religion their need, so they will buy it from you. Sweetheart, you had some issue with, focusing and paying attention when you study. Actually, praying is one of the most important things if we do it correctly. Because through salat, we need to pay attention. Psychologically, you need to focus, meditate, bring all your, because of that, you can get away from negative thoughts because you have control over your thoughts. And as a result, most probably the anxiety and depression and negative thoughts will not come to you because you already have control over it. That's why Allah is, not just you have to pray because Allah is going to give you Jannah somewhere sometimes in Akhirah. Well, what if I don't need that somewhere? Give me something that I need today. That's what we need to bring in, right? That's why what I need our scholars to bring more benefits of the deen in this dunya. Yes, okay, thank you so much. We know that Behesht and then Jannah is going to be for us. What about this dunya? What does it have for me? Sweetheart, when you have a hijab, this is the benefit that the hijab comes to you. When you follow deen and religion, this is the set of ideology that helps you in these aspects, right? When we pray in details. Okay, so I'm just considering the time. Let their mind be active in Islamic lessons, questions, critical aspects of it, research, everything. I love those teenagers come and they have a lot of questions about deen. I always welcome them with open arms. Do not extravagantly insist on following any rules. You need to make sure you follow through it. You communicate, you talk to them, you explain to them. Do not reprimand them for not following some rules, okay? Traditions are saying that reprimanding excessively inflames the fire of abstinency. Make a big bulugh ceremony for your children when they become to that age, write a letter about his or her new responsibilities in their life. I'm just giving some examples, creative ideas. Let them feel they grew up and it is one of the most important phases of their life. It's up to you. Why, when they had a birthday, you invited multiple people and a lot of presents, and then when it comes to religious events, there's nothing. When it comes to, I don't know, Christmas and other things, oh, big deal, blah, blah, blah. When it comes to Eid, when it comes to Ayad or something, whatever. It's just Eid Mubarak, so whatever. No, do something so they can see that this is important for them and for life. Environment, just giving some examples, create family mission statement. Literally let them be active in these aspects. Let them be involved with these things. I would say to some families, make the statement. We, family of so and so, who believe in Allah, the creator and the master of the universe, we testify the Prophet Muhammad is the Prophet and Imam Ali is the successor, all the way down, write it down nicely, let them design, spend time with them, quality time, post it somewhere, everybody can see it, make it a big deal. The more you spend time and energy on these things, the more they see this is important. Okay. Show it in practice. Amar ma'ruf and nahy al-munkar. It's important. Post a slogan every week on your board, for example, in the house. Treat others as you would like to be treated, for example. Let them be involved. Let them make sure you have family quality time per week, once a week. How about that, right? Tuesday night, we're going to sit down. Wednesday night, we're going to sit down 1 hour, having some family time together, fun, game, everything. You're doing one hadith today, short lecture tonight, So make them be active in this aspect and many things. Spend time with your teenagers. Go out with them. Go out with them. Whatever they're deprived from non-Muslim perspective, you give them from Islamic perspective. Spend some one-on-one time with them. Specifically fathers, again, spend some time with your children, with your teenagers. Take them out. Text or call, say, sweetheart, do you have time Tuesday night? Why? I just want to invite you to go to that restaurant that we love together. Just me and you. Oh my God. Oh yes, daddy, I have time. Sure. When this daddy, he talks about deen, I'm just mesmerized. Whatever he's saying, I'm going to accept it because I love his love, right? When mom says the same thing, when my mom comes and talk to me and understand me, do not compromise on deen. Don't get me wrong. Do not compromise on deen. Don't say, oh, because it's a little blah, blah, let's have less deen here. Sweetheart, if you don't do it, that's fine. If you don't fast, that's fine. No, that's wrong. I'm saying full deen. Full practicing deen. I'm saying how we introduce it is important. That's what is, don't get me wrong that, oh, because I have to be very nice. If my daughter comes and says, Mom, I don't want to pray. So I says, sweetheart, don't pray. That's fine. So that's love of deen. No. We need to bring the love of deen to them in order so they follow this one. Let them feel they can share their stories with you and can talk to you about their problems. Your kids getting to the age, for example, teenagers, why don't you have some meeting with them? Mom with daughters, dad with boys. Sweetheart, you're getting this age, your body is changing. You go through a set of changes, physical changes that will happen, hormonal changes you would experience. Talk to your daughters, moms, about the changes that are going to happen. Do not let her experience that she sees that she's getting to the monthly cycle alone in the school. To be scared, to be, oh my God, no one talked to me about this. We have some examples like this, All of a sudden she thought she's dying because a blood is coming from her. No, you explain to them before even that happens, very nicely, this is what is going to happen. Talk to your boys, fathers, about the changes that are happening. You might feel certain things when you become to this age. I'm not saying explicitly open everything, but enough for that age that they understand, right? A relationship that, to the extent that if a boy approaches your daughter, she can come to you and says, Mom, someone approached me today. So you don't say, don't say your father, inshallah, keep it quiet. So that's fine. Just to make sure you don't get too close to it. No. Well, thank you so much, sweetheart, for letting me know about this. I know these are the changes probably happen to you. You might have some feelings, but let's talk about this. The reason we have to be careful, and Islam is saying about this and that is this, because we have to be careful. Same principle. the line for us is that no, we cannot have a relationship, not halal relationship, but how we say it is important. If you say it as soon as she comes and says something happened, astaghfirullah, you probably did something that he approached you. If you didn't look at him, next time, she's not going to talk to you. Or if she comes and you said, that's okay, sweetheart, that's fine, that's wrong. It's not fine. No, it's not fine that you have a relationship with someone, right? But the approach and explanation is important, how you talk to them, how you explain why it's not good. I have my Q&A with teenagers, it's just teenagers. I do not let any adults or parents to be there. And they love my Q&A because they can freely express their feelings, right? And I can say, why not having a relationship? Right? Look at this and that, and these examples, right? Talk to them the way that they can understand. Anyhow, I have a lot to say. Why teenager rejects religion? Positive response to religion depends on the role models exhibited by, parents, role model actually exhibited by parents and individuals who affect the religious life of the child and the adolescents. Remember I said, you introduce deen to them. If you make a mistake, the rebelliousness of the teen towards religion is a form of rebelling against the people who wish to impose upon them religion. If they are against deen, most probably because they're against you. You do something that they don't like it. I had a teenager, a girl came and says, I just hate to come to masjid. You know what? She literally told me, because my father comes to that masjid. Right? So these are all the examples. Therefore, the more rigid and authoritarian that the form of applying religious, authority be, especially when it is combined with severity and impatience, the more the teens will reject religion. The last part I want to mention about the virtual world, be very careful about how many time they spend. And this is the whole different discussions, the social media and then the screen time and everything, to be super careful with that. We have some kids, being, I'm just going through so you can see it. You have some kids that they have addiction to devices, and there are a lot of issues that you can see happens to them. And plus, look at some of the things and games that they play and they see. And, these are by the way, not very new. We have worse than this right now. So that happens to them. Anyhow, so inshallah, make sure that I just bring this up again. Some people I know they want this. So therefore, to wrap it up, make sure that inshallah, you pay attention to this. You pay attention to, we need, the base is to communicate with kids. The base is that you bring the love of deen into them by explanation. But the base is that you need to yourself. You understand yourself that as well. My last recommendation to teachers, great creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are super important as well. I'm sure we have some teachers probably here as well. They learn about Islam by seeing you as well, by how you're talking to them, by how you're interacting with them, by how you're talking to each other. He's just passing the hall, but he's hearing how you're talking to someone else. Because you're a Muslim teacher, because this is Islamic school, they would take a picture of that, right? So it's very important. I always tell, I have some training for teachers. I tell them always, you're the role model for them as well in that environment that 6, 7, 8 hours a day they spend. So that's why, inshallah, you have to pay attention to that aspect as well. Thank you so much. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajjal farajah. I hope I didn't take you understand. Oh, okay, on time.
Thank you, Seyed Yassin. Thank you so much. This is actually, if you could just leave this information on the screen for now. Generally, we do have some question answer time, but we have, I think, we're all so captivated, and there's such a lot of information. Like for somebody like me, I have a 7-year-old, I have a 9-year-old, I have a 12-year-old. So at this point, I'm not even sure like which question, like who takes precedence, or what question takes precedent, or what should I address. So I, with your permission, if the parents could perhaps email you their questions, if that is okay.
So that's a good question. Here's the point. There's certain things you need a special attention. It needs to be customized. So what we are having is that through the HADI life coaching, and it's worldwide, services that we have, alhamdulillah, from all around the world. What we do is that if you see there are certain things you need specifically work on your children, so something went not the way that it was supposed to be and went, so you need customized ideas and help. So therefore, I always said, if that's the case, make sure you set up your sessions, come to the sessions, learn about this, how you need to deal with them, and the sooner the better, because the more you wait, the bigger it becomes.
I was just getting, I think a couple parents message saying that they have messaged you directly. Generally, what happens is on the chat. So I can't see those questions. Typically, the questions are directed to us, and then we direct them to you. But if you can perhaps see any questions on your chat.
Let me check. I have some Assalamualaikum question. You have
And you can, I don't know how many questions you have. You can perhaps
the name. I just read it out loud. How about that? Is that okay, or just answer?
You can read the question and then answer. Absolutely. However, you don't have to take the parent's name.
No. Okay. Let me just read some question for you if you have time at the end. My daughter observes hijab in public school. She is the only one in the entire school observing hijab. She is in her 13th year now. I am starting to see signs where other children think she is too serious when they see her hijab. She's starting to find it harder to approach other teenagers. Any advice on these things? I fear she might become socially awkward. Okay, good question. Number one, the answer to that is that the environment that you provide. Yes, that's part of it. When she goes to public school, she's going to be exposed to this. That's number one. So if you can bring them to a safer environment, that's a physical answer to this. If you can bring them to an environment that everybody around understand her, that's number one. Okay, if you have this, inshallah, ability to bring them in the school, is around to do it. So that's number one. Otherwise, if she's going to go there and unfortunately, Second is that if it's really, that's it, we don't have any other options, how it's going to be very tough, by the way, but how much you feed your daughter about the beauties of this, how much her self-esteem, confidence, prestige is to that level, how much love she receives from home, from father, from mother at home, that she sees that she's strong and she can do these things, right? I'm going to give you these examples. How come when it comes to other things, other kids, to be rebellious, do something against other kids? When I was studying, my master's here, I remember at the university, we had a kid, not a kid, he was probably, I don't know, 20 something. Everything was all black, tattoos all around, the hair, the strange look, right? Not thinking what and how he was so confident to come to the university. And everybody's looking at him, but he comes with that weird look because of ideology, because he believed I belong to this, I don't know, people, sect or whatever it is. So he came with so much confidence every single day. Why? Because he got the energy from somewhere. If you can give that energy, explanation, energy, love more, and explain and then talk to her about these things, it would make it easier, probably, not solve the issue. The issue is that the girls go, everybody is with beautiful makeup on, look at the dresses, look at this and how they talk, and she has to, this is the reality, right? So we can eliminate that, but we can support a lot and change the environment. And there are many other things, so it might be that I need to talk to you later. Such a great information, very informative. Thank you. Very nice, informative. Thank you so much. I'm glad that it was helpful. Okay, so one of my students used to pray in elementary school and now stopped praying Salah. He considers himself Muslim but does not pray. He is in college at the moment. what can be done at this age? There's no concrete answer to that. I have to check who is he, what happened to him, what was the process that it happens. He's not praying maybe because of dad. He's not praying maybe because of mom. He's not praying because of something happened. It's not just, as a professional, I don't just give answer, do this, this is going to happen. When you go to the doctors would analyze and diagnose you first before they give you a treatment, right? So we need to analyze. We need to find the reason that this kid has issue with certain things, right? Once we find it, then we can see what can be done with that. Overall, generally, find what happens, why this student, he doesn't pray anymore. Is it just a simple question? It doesn't make sense to him, or something happened to him? Mostly, there's a reason behind. So we need to figure out that reason. Same as this, I have 24 years old who increasing being away from Islam. What can we do? The same thing. Why? What is the reason? I forgot to say this as well. Beside what you do in the home, there's a few things as well. Part of the environment is the friendship. Super duper important. Who are their friends? The friends can actually, the friends actually can deviate them from the right path, no matter what you did. Peer pressure is important. So make sure be very careful from early ages who are the friends of your kids. Second, the environment out of the house. Again, school is super important. I have seen kids from beautiful families, Mu'min families, they got deviated because of the school, right? The pressure, the school. Remember, they go to school 7-8 hours, being bombarded with different things. And nowadays the schools, oh my God, right? Inshallah better than me. So that's why it's very important to pay attention to these things as well. But why is the reason he's getting away from Islam? We need to figure out why. What is the reason? Like I said, it can be the interactions, behavior of people around, or it can be it might be some simple questions he had. No one could answer those questions. No Maulana could answer those questions the way that he could understand. It can be as simple as that, but usually it's not as simple as that. Usually is something else. I've seen those kids who their parents have good relationship with them. They're in less risks of, being far away from Islam. So that is another thing, inshallah, pay attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Seyed Yassin, for giving us your time today. I know with all that you do and all your engagements, especially with the month of Ramadan, if anything, they'd be increased. So for you to scratch out this time for us for such an informative session, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I know that you have the duas of all the parents who attended. Is it possible for you to share the slides? Because a lot of our parents were asking. I mean, we would be putting this on YouTube. We'll be sharing the recording with our parents, but I don't know if I just felt since I was asked, I was duty bound to inquire.
Inshallah.
Thank you. And I will, for my audience, I would strongly recommend you all. I know as parents, we have so many questions and we're all at various stages of parenting. And we have children in various stages of their developmental growth. So Seyed Yassin has Hadi Life Coaching. He's the founder. He's the man who's running it. And please go visit the website. It is there. They offer sessions for parenting sessions. They offer sessions for children, and they offer sessions for couples. So I think all of us can benefit from at least one, if not all of them. And so that'll be a great place to go visit. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you so much, Seyed Yassin, for again generously giving your time to us. And inshallah, may God bless you for this.
Thank you so much, all of you guys. And I see some messages from fathers who joined. Alhamdulillah. That makes me very happy. Alhamdulillah. It's excellent. May Allah bless all of you guys. Inshallah, protect you and your children. Inshallah, always keep your generation strong and confirming the path of Quran, Islam, and Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Khuda Hafiz. Khuda Hafiz, everyone.